Thank you very much, Kirtana, and an honor indeed to be part of this gathering today, a very timely and relevant one. And I hope that our small contributions will lead to something substantial. My name is Rajiv Khandelwal, and I represent Ajivika Bureau. I'm based out of, we are headquartered in Udaipur, Rajasthan, and have activities between Rajasthan, Gujarat, and Maharashtra. Our main focus of our work is labor rights protection and labor support to migrant workers. And one significant part of that is to provide legal aid through mediation and litigation support. I'm therefore joined by my colleague, Advocate Santosh Punia, who heads that program. And I thought I'll take the opportunity to highlight what is already in our consciousness, which COVID did, which is that a very large uh, enormous subsection of our population, which is the informal worker and the migrant worker, the issues of that population have been, in a way, pushed to our kind of core of our consciousness. The COVID period was not just a health emergency, it was also an emergency about the migrant work kind of entitlements and rights. And a lot of those issues still remain outstanding. I think we are overcoming the COVID kind of situation, but the very structural issues that affect the access to justice by for informal workers and migrant workers, those questions remain unanswered. However, as I go through the uh, the entry kind of documents of Disha, I feel huge excitement because I think there are several elements in the Disha document.
Rajiv, I'm so sorry to jump in. I just wanted to check if it's possible for you to turn your camera on. If it's a technical issue, it's all right too.
No, my camera is on.
We can see Rajiv. We can see
Oh,
Rajiv. It
okay.
might
You
be
can
an
see
issue there.
Rajiv.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we have to switch speakers on our side. We'll do that. Thank you,
Okay,
Sachin,
is
and
it
sorry,
okay?
Rajiv. Go on.
No, that's fine. Yes, as I was saying that, the migrant worker population is enormous. It's 180 million, even if it is not officially estimated, but it is in the neighborhood of 180 to 200 million. A very substantial part of this labor force or workforce is informally, employed. Almost 90% of the entire Indian economy is informal, which means that most people who enter the labor market are entering it without any formal relationships of employment. They are people who do not have written documentation of their work contracts. They are people who are regularly facing wage denials, wage thefts, injuries at workplace, accidents which remain undocumented or unreported and uncompensated. There are service cases like provident fund gratuity and unfair retrenchment that continue to kind of plague the workforce without an adequate kind of cover for both identification of violations and response. We set up a legal advice, mediation, and help kind of system about 10 years ago, and thousands of cases started to come in. So far, just in the over the last 10 years, we have registered over 20,000 cases, have resolved about 14,000 such cases, and have brought back 35 crore rupees to workers who would have lost these wages otherwise. We run a toll-free helpline for workers. It's called Labor Line, like the Child Line, which has resolved about 9,000 cases till date, and about 25 crore rupees has just come back to workers through just counseling and mediation. There are, of course, 500 to 600 cases in court, which, of course, take a lot of time because the way courts, our labor courts, are currently resourced and empowered, to deliver justice. There is a so the and the if we had more capacity, more cases would come in. If we had more resources, we'd be able to reach out to many more segments of the workforce kind of population. One interesting thing that we did was to upscale our labor line from Rajasthan and Gujarat, and we've set it up as a national helpline in Mumbai with a toll-free number, which is now reaching several cities. Now, just based on that experience, I wanted to highlight a few things that we could do to make justice system more adaptive and more resilient for more responsive to the informal workforce. Firstly, and as I think as Disha also got it right, because of the nature of work that the migrant workers and informal workers enter into, for them, actually, pre-litigation and pre-judicial kind of interventions are hugely important, extremely important, which is why mediation services become of a very high priority for especially the informal workforce. These are people without documentary evidence of formal employment, and therefore systems have to be such that take cognizance of informal evidence. They cannot be shaped around, submission of work contracts and job offers and attendance records and so on, because they don't exist. They don't exist in our system. Secondly, there has to be enormous empowerment of labor codes, okay, because they're not only short in number, they're very, very under-resourced in terms of litigation resources, right? Most of our cases that are in labor courts go begging for, hearings, and then once, even if verdict is reached, enforcement becomes a problem. Timing is of essence for people who are coming to these, who are bringing their cases. And because these are small ticket cases, they are not large tickets, so workers cannot kind of stand around waiting for justice to be delivered. Which is why a few specific kind of structural level recommendations I would like to make. One, that we need to, maybe Department of Justice, especially working with systems like the Labor Department, need to set up under the Disha program mediation cells that are well resourced, well empowered, and they need to take it out of the district, go to set up camp courts in industrial areas, in areas of highly concentrated presence of migrant workers where they don't even know how to reach the police or the labor court or the labor department system. Secondly, of course, as I said, we need to empower labor courts, and if there are innovations around that, if we can bring in resources to improve the justice delivery system through the labor courts, we would actually make a huge dent, because just a number of cases that are unable to be addressed by labor courts, they would improve. Thirdly, and very importantly, a vast cadre of special paralegal workers. We already have a good, robust cadre of paralegal workers under, DLSA and ALSA and so on. But especially for that address the requirements of migrant workers and informal workers, a new kind of system that trains, places them, and empowers them to deal with cases of informal workers is highly called for. And of course, technologies like labor line, which I already mentioned, we need to upscale those technologies. Just the fact that there is a look at the huge impact child line has everywhere in the country. And I think labor line, so that workers can reach it regardless of their location. We have so many cases of workers calling in from situations of bondage, from they are being physically captured by employers and contractors. These are the workers who can reach systems of response and addressal through systems like labor line. So partnering with labor line, making them kind of endorsing their work and giving them some authority, I think would be a huge step forward. So I think the general message for that, like Sachin and Madhukar have said, is to get into new partnerships. Obviously the formal system, the litigation architecture is not able to address fully the vast need of the population, especially the informal workers and migrant workers. And mind you, these are millions of people. And so organizations that are already in the system, trade unions, labor protection organizations that are doing casework at the grassroots, should be made legitimate partners to the department, and it will empower their work and ultimately reach enormous help to an unserved population so far. Thank you very much.